Line 6, you're live on Talksport. Hi. I've never got a word by this point. Have you?
Yeah, I never got one for years, and then I got 3 in 1 year.
Fantastic.
One was horseplay.
Oh,
One was badminton.
fantastic.
I can't remember the other one.
Brilliant, very impressive. You're too old for the nightclub when you start wandering around asking if, do I come here often?
You...
What?
You're too old.
You're too old for the nightclub when you're wandering around, going up to women, saying, do I come here often? Line 6, you're live on...
thought of that?
What?
Did you just think of that one?
No, I rehash a lot of material, but I managed to sort of dovetail it into what is going on. This is Tchaikovsky, a little bit of the 1812, of course. Great bit of music. It's the cannons bit. Here we go. The last 7 days, seeing our lorry drivers trying to behave like French lorry drivers. And not really able to pull it off, because the French lorry drivers did it. They got a reduction in duty. Our guys went and stood in neat lines on the pavement outside refineries. Nothing actually happened, and nothing actually changed. And then, line 1, you're live on Talksport.
Yes, hello, Tommy. You should not say that the Bible is tosh, because Plato, Jung, and Freud are dead, but Jesus Christ is alive. Plato can't help you. Jung and Freud can't help you. Jesus Christ is the only person who can help you.
Getting all the loonies tonight, aren't we, eh? Absolutely fantastic. Line 3, can you stop heavy breathing? You're live on Talksport.
Stop breathing at all if you like.
Say it again, more clearly.
I'll stop breathing at all if you like.
Okay, how long can you stop breathing for?
Well, termination coming.
Fantastic. Haven't had a suicide live on air yet.
You can't hold your breath, because when you black out, you'll start breathing again, you see.
Yeah. I read about a bloke who had to concentrate on breathing.
Don't try it at home, no.
Well, no, but he had to do it consciously, because his autonomous nervous system had packed up. And
His
so
autonomic nervous system.
I don't know, mate.
I suppose it could
I didn't
be
know you were
autonomous.
medical.
Yeah, I used to dabble. I still do dabble.
It's like
in
that
medicine.
line in The Blood Donor, isn't it, where Hugh Lloyd says to Tony Hancock, are you a doctor then? And Hancock goes, I never really bothered.
Yeah. I've got a home operating theatre.
Have you really?
It's like a hobby, though.
Fantastic.
You know, I'm not qualified or anything, but if you ever need anything, I'm quite good.
You know what I've always wondered is, what would be the most demanding operation that a doctor stuck up the jungle and injured or ill could perform on his or herself, with or without anaesthetic? Could you take your own appendix out? Could you do a tracheotomy?
To yourself?
Yeah. Could you do a vasectomy on yourself?
Oh, yeah. I could do
You know
that.
Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields and the good-looking guy nobody remembers?
Yeah.
I mean, could he have given himself a vasectomy?
Well, he wouldn't have known anything about it.
It's the interesting thing about sex is that they didn't know what sex was, and yet they made a baby, didn't they, in the Blue Lagoon? Do you think that a human being would know how to make love if they hadn't been told in this day and age? Does it come naturally? I don't think it can. It's easily the most ludicrous thing you do.
Well, yes, but it's a natural instinct. I mean, look, all the animals do it.
08700 40 50 60. Still taking calls. Well, we do it through the show. Live, unscreened, and at random. Line 6, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
You love Mike Dicking.
Yes, that rumour is going around, and I don't give a hoot, frankly.
Good.
Well, I love Mike Dicking.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently the rumour that I love Mike Dicking in many ways is going around.
I don't know about that. I couldn't confirm that at all.
No.
I have never seen you and Mike in that sort of... like that.
Fantastic, the way the rumour mill works. Somebody doesn't know what's going on. Hello? 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 No.
Full of fear.
Don't get that. Full of fear. Good. Because there are so many things worth being frightened of. I think being frightened of something that's not worth being frightened of, if it takes up all the space that would normally be occupied by a fear of something worth being frightened of...
It's on delay.
We do it. It's on delay, mate. That's right. Yeah, you're on the air. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, radio means never having to say you're sorry.
All right.
Yeah. I was just saying something, but I can't remember what it was now, so you go first.
All right, I just got a joke for you.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, I've got a couple, actually. But I'm sitting here in the dark because we're in the middle of a power cut at the moment.
Where are you calling from?
I mean, Hackney, all the lights have just gone back on.
Oh, that's that flipping fireworks. Are they?
I don't know. The lights have just gone back on. Anyway, listen.
Yeah.
A salesman stopped at a farmhouse one evening.
Oh, that one.
Oh, to ask for a room and board for the night. Have you heard this one?
I bet I have, but go on, you tell
Well, I've got a couple, right?
Okay,
So bear with me, right?
Yeah.
The salesman stopped at a farmhouse one evening, asked for a room and board for the night. Farmer told there was no vacant room. Farmer said, I'm going to let you sleep with me daughter, the farmer said, if you promise not to bother her. Salesman agreed. After a nice hearty supper, the...
So does this one end...
No.
Okay, carry on. I'll tell that one later.
After a hearty supper, he was led to the room. He undressed in the dark, slipped into bed. Felt the farmer's daughter at his side. Next morning, he asked for the bill. That'd be £2, said the farmer, since you had to share like the bed with me daughter. And the salesman said...
But I can't tell it till after midnight. For structural reasons. Line 4, you are live on Talksport. Hello.
Hello there, Tom. It's Mike again from Hull. If you can remember last week, I rang you about my job. No, you can't remember?
No. Sorry. I hope you don't take that personally. A bit like asking a butcher if he remembers that piece of liver that he sold you last week, but carry on.
Yeah, you only do it once a week. How often do you do this show?
What, the Sunday show?
Yeah, the Sunday.
Well, funnily enough, I do the Sunday show once a week.
Very good. Yeah, well, I rang you up last week to tell you about how depressed I was at work.
Yeah.
I can't believe you can't remember. Anyhow, I'm a lot better now.
Good.
Things have cheered up a bit, so...
Good, glad to hear it. Onward and upwards.
Yep.
Now go and get that first million and that woman you really fancy. Thank you for your call.
You
right?
actually do 2 shows on a Sunday.
Do I? I
You
suppose
do
I
that,
do, really.
yes.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
I do 2 shows on a Sunday. That's very good, Ash. It's very, very astute.
Don't know what's wrong with me, man.
I think it crossed a few people's minds listening that's most unlikely.
I can't see.
No, you're on now. It's all right. Who's this?
Sorry, hello. I've just been a little disappointed on the Olympic coverage regarding the opinions of the British commentators as to their own athletes. It seems to be very negative opinions towards their performances in general.
I'll find something worth worrying about, you plonker.
Oh, settle down, mate.
Hey, what do you mean settle down? Find something worth worrying about. There's so much going on in the world and you're worried about British commentators at the Olympics?
Well, it ruins the whole spirit of the whole thing. I mean...
Nothing ruins anything unless you're a downer. You a downer? No wonder they kicked you out of Oz.
Hang on, mate. I'm Australian. I'm here celebrating my
Yeah, we
country.
get that. No wonder they kicked you out. People send their worst emissaries abroad and look at you. You wouldn't get away with this at Oz. People would thump you.
Well, no, we've got good opinions of our sports heroes at home. I mean, we look up to our athletes and we applaud them for their
Moan,
performances.
moan, moan. You're a bunch of whingers. You're a bunch of whingers, you Aussies. You come over here and you moan, moan, moan. You do.
I'm not moaning. I'm
You're moaning
criticising
about.
your
You're moaning
commentators.
about this country that you've come to live in.
Well,
Yeah.
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 all right.
Have that.
Example, say Lessing's performance in the triathlon the other day.
Not interested.
Not interested.
Not interested.
Why not, mate?
Not interested. Why should I be?
Because he's a national. He's the world champion.
Got more interesting things to bother about, mate.
Like what? Just Blair pulling his head out of his ass every now and then, or?
In any case, he's gone. Got rid of an Aussie. Murdered an Aussie. That's great. My brother went to Australia. He said it's the best country on earth. He said, because the Australians who are worth knowing stay there. That's what he said.
Oh.
He said, and you can get a fight in any pub.
My mate hated Australia but loved New Zealand.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like some people like Yorkshire but hate Surrey.
Ah.
It's the same sort of thing. New Zealand's like Surrey, isn't it?
Yeah, but
Genteel.
I've never been there.
Genteel. That's the impression I get. Genteel.
Sorry, like.
Organised. She's on form tonight, isn't he? Shall I drive the show and you host? Line 6, you're live on Talksport. No, sorry, mate, that's not working. Good try. Get somebody who knows a little bit about electronics in to help.
50 quid.
Well, one thing I don't get about computers, maybe you two guys, what's your name?
Stephen.
Stephen and Ash can help me with this.
Yeah.
Computers go on getting better and better, okay?
Yeah.
So they get bigger processors,
Yeah.
250, then it's 300, then it's 450, 500, now you can buy them with 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and RAM keeps getting bigger, doesn't it? You
Yeah.
know, 128 is now pretty much the norm, isn't it?
Yeah.
But modems stay the same. And modems, since you're connected to the internet,
Yeah.
you've got to be using a telephone, and that means you've got to use a modem.
Well, no, you see, modems are phasing out already because of ISDN, and also there's even a newer thing as well.
Okay, but why did they never make a 112k modem? Why did they never do that?
I think some of the servers, they only have certain limits to which they actually broadcast their things back to you.
Oh, well, fair enough. That's probably the answer. Thanks for that. All right, we'll check it, mate. Thanks for your call, Stephen.
All right.
We'll check our
Yeah,
website.
I'll check that now.
If you've got a PC in the house, maybe you could do that for us. You could go to Talksport's website, which is talksport.net. You get the occasional click with a website, just like you do with anything that's supposed to work. Just occasionally it flickers. You're live on Talksport.
Tommy,
Hi.
do you know how you're on twice on a Sunday now? Twice, and you know, technically.
Yeah, Ash pointed that out. It's clever, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very good. Could you cut it down to once?
He's a very sad man. That's the bloke who spends his day in his bedroom with that sort of slightly funny smell in his bedroom, looking at the curtains. He's Scottish. Line 6, the line ring. Hello? Hello, is Dave there? Hello? Could I speak to Dave? Hello?
You ever tried mountain climbing, Tom?
No.
No. Would you?
Probably not, unless there was
Yeah.
a really good reason. Unless there was something up the mountain.
Yeah, because I was watching a film called K2, and if you've seen it,
Yeah.
these guys try to do Everest,
Yeah.
and it's like, and they have to climb back down again, like, and they get
Yeah.
really tired and stuff, and the helicopter turns up,
Yeah.
they make
No,
it.
I think that I've just made my position on that. I've just decided what
Yeah.
I think about mountain climbing.
Yeah.
I'd go up a mountain if I thought there was something up there, like
Yeah.
a Yeti,
hmm
or a guru,
Yeah.
or Michelle Pfeiffer kind of thing. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
good point, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more question.
Naked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, there
Or
you go.
dressed as she was in that Batman movie.
Definitely.
You know that leather suit thing?
Oh, yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wicked. There's one more question, Tom,
Yeah.
don't mind. I've just seen the latest movie, another film question, Scary Movie. Have you seen it? It's supposed to be really funny.
Yeah.
It's a spoof of the Scream
Yeah.
genre, yeah. And it's like really, it depends if it's your humour, you know what I mean? And do you like comedy films or?
I do, but I read it's a parody of a parody, and I don't know
Yeah.
how that works, but you thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was really quite funny. Yeah, it was really good, yeah.
Thanks for your call. Nice one. Line 2, you're live on Talk Sport. Who's this?
Hello, this is Sheila from Edinburgh, Tommy.
Hello, Sheila.
Hello.
Hello.
I'd just like to say to you,
Yeah.
you're really a terrible show-off.
Yeah, I know.
You know, you're not doing yourself any favours. You're a
Right.
very knowledgeable
The
man.
thing is, you see, I've got a lot to show off about. That's the
But
thing.
that's
you see.
besides the point.
No, it isn't beside the point. If
It is.
people show off and they haven't got a lot to show off about, well, that's rather sad. But when you're the kind of calibre of man that I am, then there's nothing you can do. You can't hide it.
Yeah, well, could I ask you why do you actually work for Talksport?
I don't understand the question.
Why do you work for Talksport?
I don't understand the question. What do you do?
I'm asking you the question.
Well, I'll be able to understand your question if you show me how it needs answering. What do you do?
What do you mean, how it
What do you do?
I'm talking to you at the moment.
Yeah, but what do you do for a living?
That's besides the point.
Oh, if you can't have a conversation, ducky, clear off. What do you do for a living?
I'm not a duck. Don't...
You're worse. Rather have a duck on the line. It'd be more interesting. Aren't the Scots tight-thingied this evening? Tight-thingied. They're often slightly more tight-thingied than most of us. But, this evening we've had some real tight-lipped, tight-what's-itted Scots on the line. Line 3, you're live on Talksport. Yes. Oh! Adrian! care what anybody says. That Rocky was a hell of a movie. That was a hell of a movie. Okay, I know that there's Battleship Potemkin and The Seven Samurai, but that Rocky just did what a movie is supposed to do, which is just take you right out of yourself and imagine sort of like being a basically brave and noble and dignified human being. I think it's one of the best movies ever made. Thank you for that, caller. Line 4, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello.
Hello. I wanted to ask you about pants.
Yes.
What pants do you wear?
What pants am I wearing at the moment? Well, I'm wearing a very nice...
Yeah.
Did you really want to... I'll tell you.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, yeah. I'm wearing a very nice... Well, what do you think I'm wearing? Imagine.
Is it string ones that are made of wool and they're itchy?
Very poor.
That's what you sound like.
Yeah. No, I'm wearing a very nice tan pair of lightweight chinos, which have been very nicely taken up with a piece of silk, just to protect the actual turn-up from fraying. As I said, they're lightweight, and they're held up with a nice tan belt with a gold buckle, and the belt, being a fit boy, is on the very last buckle. So thank you for the inquiry. Line 6, you're live on Talksport. Good evening.
All right, Matt, I was going to talk about the petrol crisis.
What?
What do you mean, what?
What?
Who's that?
What?
What do you mean, what?
You want to talk about the petrol crisis?
Well, it ain't like a crisis, is it really? I was going to say that...
Well, it's not, is it? I mean, it was nothing.
That's what I'm going to say. I was going to say, when I was not young, because I'm young, but everybody's getting mad, aren't they?
It's pathetic, isn't it?
About all these, them buying like loads and loads of bread and everything, and everybody's getting short.
You've got 20 or 30 tractor drivers, a couple of hauliers, and a few taxi drivers. In other words, everybody who voted Tory at the last election, right?
Yeah.
Just jumping up and down a little bit because they're so annoyed that they voted for the wrong side.
It's terrible, isn't it?
It's pathetic. And everybody who gets interviewed in the forecourt goes, well, I suppose, they've got a point. That's just really, because they can't be bothered with the argument. I haven't met one person who thought anything of it at all. Certainly not met a person who thought it was a good idea.
I don't know. They get mad, don't they?
Don't you worry about it. Listen, mate, when you're middle-aged, you'll be running the world a lot better than this lot.
I will be.
I'm sure of it.
I mean, like, when the war was on, what did they do then?
Well, it's funny you should say that. Ash and I were talking on the fire escape before the show. We both watched the Douglas Bader movie, and in all these British war movies, they make out that the upper middle classes won the war, because everybody's going around going, jolly good show, carry on, well done, Roger, Wilco, any chow, feeling a bit peckish. Well, they're not the people who won the war. People who won the war were people who didn't talk like that, people who weren't like that. There were people like that in the war, but they're the only ones who get recorded. Ash, we're having a go about your pet theory about the propaganda being that the Eton and Harrow won the war.
Yeah, nonsense.
It's disgraceful, isn't it?
I mean, they were there, but so were the common people.
Well, there were plenty of fighter pilots who didn't talk, jolly good show, Winco Roger.
But they didn't get all the benefits of their own plane and engineer, and they used to have to do the dangerous jobs.
This is interesting. Apparently, the well-off could buy their own Spitfire and make sure...
No, you didn't buy it.
Oh, right.
No, but it's just all the upper classes were officers.
Uh-huh.
And all the other people who weren't, from the upper class became sergeant pilots. And, the officers, it basically turned out that they had their own plane and engineer, and no one else flew it when they weren't.
Right.
Whereas... the other guys, everyone used the plane, they were a bit dodgy, engineering-wise more dangerous.
Right.
And in the formations, the sergeant pilots would have to do the flying behind the formation, which was the most dangerous, looking for people coming from behind. Messerschmitt.
Yeah, very interesting, that little conversation we had on the fire escape this evening. 08700 40 50 60 is the telephone number, or you can email us by going to our website, which is talksport.net, and you want to click on the button that says email the show. Ash,
bit of a problem there.
The website is just
it's up,
flickering.
But the bit where all the emails and bit, there's a problem there.
Oh, no worries. Well, we'll be fixing that as we speak and all that kind of talk. Line 1, our exercise in broadcasting democracy continues. We're taking calls live, unscreened, totally at random. We're never sure who's going to be there. As soon as you hear talking coming at you down your phone, if you're calling the show, that means you're on air. And some emails and some jokes would be well. Yes, it's coming back. Thank you, Line 4, for reminding us. It's coming back. And Jane is going to be in it again.
It's a real toe tapper, isn't it?
Oh, baby. It was the best.
What happened?
I don't know, it just went, but that was a nice little reminder of our school days for everybody who remembers Crossroads, and it's coming back. And what's her name again? Jane, the girl, the blonde girl, quite pretty.
Oh,
Jane,
is she coming back?
She's going to be in it.
She'll be very old.
They've decided that there's no space for Benny because it's not politically correct, because Benny had learning difficulties.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to have Benny in it anymore.
What? Oh, no.
I know.
Benny was running a strip club in Birmingham, I heard.
No.
Yeah?
No.
Managing the one.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Well, in real life?
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever real life
No,
is.
as Benny.
Because he went out to look for a spanner, didn't he? And never came back.
He's wearing that cap outside the strip club.
It's Diane. 08700 40 50 60. The experiment in radio democracy continues.
On 1089 and 10:53 a.m. Talk.
It's easy being me. I haven't met my equal, but I'd like to.
Do you know who I've seen that looks a bit like you? And
Tell me.
Everyone knows who he is. We had him on the show once, Richard O'Brien. Is he the guy in who wrote Rocky Horror?
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had him on the show, and then we went out for a drink after.
Yeah.
And your profiles
are
the
very
same.
similar. Yeah. Yeah.
Funny that.
Yeah,
You
interesting.
both got the same profile.
Yeah.
That nose and chin. Weird.
I'm very proud.
Must
Thank
be
you for that.
related.
That's nice. Possibly. 08700 40 50 60. We're taking calls live, unscreened and at random. We never know quite who's going to be there. Identify yourself as soon as you hear me on your phone and launch into your piece or your performance or your point, which has been missed so far in the debate.
Yes.
Line 5, you're live.
Yeah.
Good
I'd
evening.
just like to talk about Tony Blair a minute and the stick he's been taking recently. I think it's an absolute disgrace that he didn't take stick when he rolled out the red carpet for a war criminal in Vladimir Putin. For me, that is a disgrace.
Yeah, very interesting. Thanks for that.
No problem.
I bet you attract friends like flies down the pub who talk like that.
It's a disgrace, though. Do you not agree?
I bet you attract friends like flies down the pub who talk like that.
Do you not agree with that?
I bet they'll come rushing towards you to find out what's your latest point that's been missed so far in all of this. Tedious, mate. Tedious.
That's the point, isn't it? 80,000 Chechens killed by the Russians.
Tedious point, mate.
80,000 Chechens killed by the Russians and nobody cares.
I care, but you make it sound tedious.
But it's true.
Because your agenda is you and how caring and clever you are.
No,
untrue.
Untrue.
That's true. No, it's true. You have it back at you. You have it straight back at you. All you're interested in is dressing yourself up as being some kind of noble savage. Well, you don't fool anybody.
Noble savage?
Yeah, especially me.
Oh,
Go and do something. Go and do something. Go and...
Untrue.
All right, have this then. Have this. Go and do something useful. What's the most useful thing you've done this year? Done.
I've done plenty of things, sir.
Tell me one.
You're trying to avoid the point.
Tell me one.
You're trying to avoid
Tell me one.
You
I'm an
are trying to avoid
existentialist.
the point, sir.
I'm an existentialist and you're all hot air.
You tried to avoid
You
the
do
point.
damn all. You do nothing. You don't get off your backside and do anything at all.
You are trying to avoid the point.
Then tell me what you've done. Tell me what you've done.
I'm making a point here. You're going off the subject.
Tell me what
sir.
you've done.
You are going off the subject.
I'm examining your
You are going-
authority or your authority to have a point. You tell me what you've
I
done.
have the point because
Tell me what you've done.
double standards and hypocrisy.
You've
of the
done
world.
nothing.
It's a double standard.
You've made no contribution to the world that you're living off. You are living on the back. You are living on the back of a civilization. And you're putting nothing back except having a whinge. What do you do? What is your contribution
I'm
to
not
society?
whinging at all. I am
How do you
making a
help
point.
people?
I am
How do you help
making
the
a point.
world? How do you help the starving and the ignorant and the poor? How do you do that? You
How
don't.
can you help the world when there's such hypocrisy?
Exactly. In
and
other words, you do nothing but sit in your living room and whinge.
Standards. I am
You're
not
worse.
whinging.
You're worse than Putin. You're worse than anybody you could possibly
I'm worse than
name.
Putin.
Yes.
That is absolutely outrageous.
Well, you take it on the
That is
chin, pal.
outrageous,
You're
sir.
useless. You're a
You
sack
are
of
another-
potatoes. You're a leech,
I
a
think
parasite.
you-
A parasite. You're a parasite.
You are one. You are the one.
I do things.
You are the backer
I
of
do
war
things.
crimes. You are the backer of war
I
crimes.
do things.
You
Listen
are
to
the
me, my
backer
friend.
and
Listen,
supporter of war crimes.
listen carefully to me, my
Well,
spineless friend, my useless friend, my jellyfish of a man. You listen to me carefully. You listen to me carefully. You do one thing this year. Do it. Do one thing this year. Even if it's paint the fanlight of some little old lady who can't reach. Even if it's go and get the shopping for somebody who is marginally less capable than you. You do something.
This is nonsense.
Oh, this is nonsense, is it? Then you tell me
Why are you
what
the
you've
back
done.
of the war crimes, then?
You
It's
tell
like
me
me.
what you've done.
You are the back of the
You
war
are
crimes.
not entitled to cast a stone because
80,000
you
dead.
just live off.
80,000 dead.
You
Let's
live
come
off
with
the. You live off a world that has been created by doers, by people who've made sacrifices, by people whose
80,000
knuckles
dead.
are bloody
This is
and
all
people
with you.
whose lungs are wheezing with their effort, and you do nothing.
Tony
And you
Blair
admit
is the
it.
backer of war crimes.
You admit that you do nothing. You're a waste of space. You've got the mind of a rocking horse. You are a waste of a human skin.
You don't know anything about this.
You're
subject.
useless.
You do
You
not
are
know anything.
absolutely
You do
useless.
not know anything
And the
about
worst
this
of it is
subject.
that there are millions like you, millions in this country, millions across the United States, who sit filling their armchairs with their backsides, full of their opinions about why other people are making the world a worse place. And they do absolutely diddly squat like you.
I'll give the example of Kosovo.
Hopeless. Not a chance. Not a chance. Think of all the animals that have to die to sustain that man's appetite. Think of all the harmless chickens and delightful lambs and beautiful, beautiful eyelashed cows.
Plump pigs.
Plump pigs and little bunny rabbits who have to die horrible deaths so that he can eat them in order to sustain this utterly sedentary, acidic view of other people who actually stand up on their hind legs and try to do something. Because when you do, whatever you do, you will find people like that man who will want to throw squishy tomatoes at you from the comfort of their buttock-filled armchairs. But I only have respect for people who do.
It was rancid, that call.
Rancid.
Yeah, rancid.
Rancid call. Lovely word. Putrid is another good word.
Yeah.
Yes. 08700 40 50 60 is the number. Oh.
Well, the only point I wanted to make was I felt for you, and I just
No, you
felt
didn't,
these
you
people were
see. No,
dreadful.
you see, you didn't.
Well, I feel I did.
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, well.
No, I think you're cross about something, but you're not quite sure what. No, I have to tell you, that yours is the worst call
Oh, right,
we've
right.
taken on the show so far by a considerable distance.
Right.
It's so ordinary,
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Well, I was in London just a couple of days ago.
Gosh, she's been to London. Oh, she's gone. What was it like? Fancy having been to London. I was in a wine bar, Ash, you'll like this, in Birmingham. You know there aren't any wine bars in Birmingham. You like Birmingham.
Yeah.
I like Birmingham.
Yeah, where was it, man?
It was just along from the
Street.
Midland Hotel.
Oh, was
So
it?
I spent my
New
life
Street.
in the
You like
Midland
New
Hotel.
Street, the ramp, don't you?
I do, yeah. And that big McDonald's there. That's why I took Madonna.
Yeah.
To
Was
the
that where the
McDo-
bar was? Just
To
along
the
there?
McDonald's in Birmingham.
ramp.
I must be the only bloke who's taken Madonna out and taken her for a Mac. Anyway.
McDonald's on the ramp.
So they opened a wine bar, and I normally like a beer before I have a glass of wine. So I went into this wine bar, and I was with some people, and they ordered a bottle of wine, and I said, "Could I start off with a beer just to wash the day away?" And the chap said, "Oh, so we don't serve beer. It's a wine bar."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, that's unusual." He said, "No." He said, "It's not." He said, "They don't serve beer in wine bars in London." And I said to him, mock like a gog, I said, "Oh, have you been to London?"
Yeah.
And he looked at me, wasn't quite sure whether I really meant it. And he went, "Yeah."
Yeah, I know. One thing about Birmingham.
I've been to London. Go on.
It's doing all right, but
Yeah.
you need to get your restaurants sorted out better, you know,
Oh,
because I went,
God.
it was disgusting it was.
The vegetarian restaurants in Birmingham need, mind you, maybe they're better now.
Well, there is a few good restaurants.
It was all very heavy food. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh.
great cafes,
Yeah,
you know,
mental
greasy
yeah,
spoons. and
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But they need to sort it out a bit. Get rid of the nouveau riche.
People don't realise Birmingham is the 9th biggest city in Europe.
Yeah.
People don't realise that.
No, they don't. Yeah.
You know.
They don't even know it's the second in Britain.
No, if you asked a lot of it, in fact, most people couldn't...
Manchester, they think, was the second.
Yeah. Could you draw a map of Europe and put all the countries in? I could.
Yeah, I reckon.
I'd struggle a bit with what used to be Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
there's some of the The Balkans.
Balkan countries. Well, everybody struggled. I think they struggle with their borders.
Well, yeah, they
so
do, don't they?
how can we know?
Exactly.
I had Yugoslavia as a project for O-level, and then a few years ago woke up and the news was on at 7:30 in the morning, and they said Yugoslavia no longer exists.
It invalidated all your history education.
Well, you know, you do feel a little bit cheated. All that time I spent preparing rubbish for Tony Williams. Line 2, you're live on Talksport. Who have we here? Hello, line 2.
Hello, Tommy.
Hi, who's this?
It's Joe from Hamilton.
Hi, Joe.
How you doing?
We've had a lot of trouble with Scottish callers tonight. They've all been very serious and rather glum.
I've been listening. Well, no, I can assure you. I'm just phoning to say that I enjoy your show very much. I've been listening to it now for about a year. And you were talking last night about reincarnation and who Jesus is now. I actually know who Socrates is now. And nobody seems to have been able to give him that cup of hemlock yet. I think it's you, Tommy.
See what I mean, mate? Poor. Just not really good enough. Very poor. Everything poor. Sort of trying too hard. I think the Scots often do try too hard, especially when they're up against the English. The worst of it is that the English just do not care, really, to best the Scots. And that perhaps it's that annoys the Scots more than anything else. But being half Scottish myself, and feeling neither pride nor indignity in that fact, you know, I understand how important it is to the Scots to get one over on the English, because the English sort of feel the same way about the United States of America. But at least that's an adversary of wits worth picking, surely. 08700 40 50 60. Can we have some Scot? Can we have a Scot on the show with some joie de vivre, some balls, some cojones, some love of life, with a rich, deep, fruity voice and a hearty laugh, or a man even, you know? Somebody who's in there, somebody who's playing the game, somebody through whose veins the blood of life is coursing, please? Instead of all these people who want to make a point about something which is actually quite knocky, but they can't come out and do it. 08700 40 50 60 is the number. The stuff that's been, apart from the 5 Scots who've called this programme this evening.
Aye.
All right, this has been an absolute firework display compared to your average phone-in radio.
I'm sure it has.
I'm certain of it. I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Don't I?
Oh, I'm not going to say you don't, because I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Now, the calls have been fantastic. There's been pure theatre.
Mm-hmm.
And people have worked very hard. And it's made us laugh, and it's made us think, and it's been truly evocative.
This is it, yeah.
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 Like, unlike you, unfortunately, because here you are with a couple of serious points you want to make.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to appreciate the fact that a lot of people, right? I mean, like, they've got to go through all this sort of, like, crap, basically, throughout the day.
What crap, basically, throughout the day?
The fuel crisis, for example, that's going nowhere.
What are you talking about? That doesn't make sense, what you just said. The fuel crisis is going nowhere. It doesn't make sense. Analyse what you just said. That was a complete waste of radio time. The fuel crisis, it's like, going nowhere. That is hopeless, man. That is a total non-statement. It means nothing. It is utterly and totally meaningless. It is a waste of radio time. Say something.
Well, that's true, for example, yeah. I'll give you that fact, yeah.
Speed it up. Come on, get somewhere, Jock. Come on. Come on.
Nowhere to go. I'm going out in circles as it is. So,
well, then next time you ring this show, have something to do. Have a performance. Get in on the act. You're on stage. You're not down amongst the audience now. You phone a phone-in program. You're on stage. You're doing something. You're part of the show. What kind of contribution are you making here?
Well,
north of the border has been hopeless tonight.
No.
You'd have been tanked 6-0 by the Faroe Islands if it was football. Hopeless.
No.
Really embarrassing. Really embarrassing. I'm telling you. Really embarrassing. 5 out of 5 Scots have been truly lamentable.
No.
Yeah. You know me. Yeah, no, it's a fact. You can't just say no.
How can you say that?
What do you mean, how can you say? What kind of an argument is that? Simply because it's a perfectly accurate analysis of what has taken place. And if I were to take this show now, all right, and put it in a bucket, right? And plunge your head into that bucket so that you're up to your ears in what I've had to listen to tonight, okay? You would not be able to come up with any other analysis and any other conclusion of what has taken place this evening.
Have you ever read The Rocking Horse Winner? Now, that's a good book. You should be able to tell me about that now, Boydo. Or can you do that?
You're one of these people who thinks that everybody should have read all the books that you've read.
No, you are.
You are. You are. You are.
Oh,
you are one. I don't think that people should have read all the books that I've read. I recommend books to people who ask me what books they want to read. They ought to read.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you. Look how hopeless you are. There you are on the phone. You've had all week. You've had all the show to come up with something interesting to say.
Yeah.
And you don't come up with something interesting to say. But worst of all, the uninteresting things that you're saying, you're making sound uninteresting because you've got no grasp of your home language, which is English.
That is you. What more can I say? Look in a mirror.
Wherever anybody says, what more can I say, or what can you say about that, it means that they haven't got any ideas.
Well, look at it, sir, right? The argument is I've just phoned to put a point across about the show.
Nobody is interested. This is not a show.
Concerned about the show.
This is not a show about in which people put points on. This is not a show where people put points, pal. You're in the wrong show. You're in the wrong show.
Really?
Yeah.
What show should I be on?
I think you should phone one of those little puerile local radio programmes that you've got round your way, no doubt, where people put points that have been missed so far in the debate. You know your motive for ringing? Shall I tell you your motive for ringing?
Question.
To try to prove to yourself that you exist.
Oh, this is it, Lovey.
Well, let me tell you, Lovey, you don't. You don't exist.
You make me laugh, man.
You're non-existent. And that's your problem. Yeah, you're non-existent, and that's your problem. But if you want to exist, you won't exist by phoning a phone-in programme. You'll exist, like that last guy, by doing something.
Aye.
What do you do?
Me?
Yeah, what good are you?
Oh, I'm as good as the next man.
What good are you?
This is it.
I've
just answered the question. I've said I'm as good as the next man.
What good do you do? If you're saying that the good that you are is as good as anybody else, then that makes you as good as the people who 150 years ago stood by whilst the children of Scotland were driven into the poorhouses, and nobody did anything about it because everybody stood shoulder to shoulder and said, well, you're not doing anything about it? No. Well, then nor will I, so therefore we're all as good as each other. So if the best that you can answer, what good are you, is that I'm as good as everybody else, that isn't good enough, cocker.
Is it not?
It is not. I'm telling you.
No.
No, you're useless.
So, what you're saying is Scotch people are useless.
You're useless.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You said it, man.
You tell me what you do that's any
radio.
good. You tell me what you do that's any good. You can't, can you?
Yeah, I can.
You don't do it.
I get up and I do myself the world of good. You maybe can get up and you can go in onto talk radio and mouth off into the mouthpiece like nobody's business and Ash, what about him? Yeah? You just use people for sport, man. I mean, that is it. Talk sport, come on to radio, and then I'll make a fool of you, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Oh, yeah. You're really
Locked
good.
up this time, man.
Everybody's really impressed with you. There he goes. Away he goes. Off he goes. Tail between his kilted legs.
What was he saying? What did he mean about me? What was he saying?
He's just a hopeless man. I tell you, there's a real trait on tonight. I don't know what it is. Is it because the Battle of Britain celebrations have taken place and none of the pilots were Scottish or something?
I think. Of course. I think you might have hit the nail on the head.
08700 40 50 60.
I mean, we did win the war, wasn't it?
England?
Yeah. Wasn't Scotland.
Yeah. Largely, yeah.
Wasn't Wales.
That'll work.
Time Smart with Jeremy Nicholas in association with BT. Monday from noon, a one-to-one guide for business, legal.
In as near to total democracy in phone-in broadcasting as you can manage. We're taking calls unscreened, live. We're never sure who's going to be there or what it is that they want to say. We've had some fantastic off-the-cuff, ad-lib performances from contributors to the show this evening. One or two people wanted to make tedious points. We didn't detain them too long. But five out of five Scots wanting to make very tight-lipped, invisible observations about what they were listening to, as though nobody else would have noticed. 08700 40 50 60. It's worrying, very worrying. For Holt, yeah. I really would, because you know when there's a fall of snow, you get about 3 to 6 inches of snow.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everybody struggles into work.
Yeah.
And are proud of that.
Well, yeah. I
And
mean,
they make a big thing of it. They tell you how they managed to do it, how they cleared their driveway and
with the
managed to
shovel.
get the car started, and why.
I mean, I was watching on video match of the 70s, and I couldn't believe how full the football grounds were with snow, and you don't get that anymore.
Well, I mean, I like chaos. I like in a technical sense, I like anarchy, because the lives that we're leading are so routine and so abstract and irrelevant. We evolved to go hunting.
Yep.
And the closest we get to hunting is filling up a wire trolley in the supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Our lives are so abstract, and the things that we do are so far removed from what 2 million years of evolution to create this fantastic hunting machine. And we drive to work and do our jobs and come home and warm something up and watch a bit of telly and go to bed and have no fears, no dangers, don't have to make anything up, don't have to work anything out for ourselves.
No, everything's there.
No, it's pathetic.
Well, yeah, it's too easy almost.
Pathetic.
You know, I mean, it's life can be easy. I mean, I can't see how people can find life hard. Except for money.
Look at the men who did that blockade, or well, it wasn't a blockade because they didn't actually block anything.
No, they let them through if they wanted. It's up to them.
The petrol tankers decided not to go out.
That's right.
The companies didn't want them to go out. The drivers didn't want to go out because they were presumably getting paid to stay there and do nothing.
Yeah, which is fine.
So you get some men standing around on a pavement.
Yep.
And it's the most exciting thing that'll ever happen to them. They'll tell their grandchildren about their blockade.
Yeah,
and what great success it was, and how they had the moral high ground.
That's true. It's true.
That Welsh bloke. Do you see that Welsh bloke? We had the country on the rack.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Have them on the rack, and we must keep them there. And now they're saying we'll do nothing for 60 days. But if you haven't reduced the price of petrol or something in 60 days, then we'll hang around outside the gates of the refineries again.
Yeah, it's interesting. We should see what happens. Whether they will or not is another thing. I think they want to, but it depends really if the government will allow them to this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the government is itching to say is that they're all Tories. And their real beef is the fact that their party is so pathetic. They know that the Labour Party is going to get elected again.
Well,
That's their real beef.
Well, yeah, I mean, I voted Labour last time, but I mean, there isn't much choice really, is it? It's getting like America.
Have you ever met a farmer or a lorry driver or a taxi driver who wasn't Tory?
No.
No, exactly.
Especially where
that's all it is. It's just a political thing.
Yeah.
It's the closest that lot can get to storming the Bastille.
Well, you know, the French almost sorted themselves out really then, didn't they?
I should think they all had their fish and chips wrapped in the Daily Mail.
Well, yes, yeah. Fine paper that isn't. But,
I agree with your call. Thank you for your point.
No problem.
A lot of people in North Yorkshire will only say something rude. So say somebody turns up for a wedding and she looks fantastic. She's had her hair done, she's got a beautiful hat on, she's got a great gown, beautiful jewellery. Then folk from North Yorkshire will look at her and say, shame about the shoes. Okay?
Are you sure?
And if you,
No, I don't believe you.
Oh, yeah. Now,
No, I don't believe
He's
you.
right.
And who do you know?
Yeah,
from
look.
North Yorkshire that says that. I'm looking for examples, Tommy.
Yeah, you're having a glib conversation with me.
Am I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You are, aren't you?
Oh, well, I'm sorry for that.
Do you want to have a proper conversation?
Yeah,
or not?
please.
I don't do glib conversations because this isn't
Can we have a
radio.
proper conversation, Tommy?
We could do a glib radio conversation. I could talk to you as though you're a contestant on a show on a little game thing
Thank
that
you
I'm
for
doing
coming, Tommy,
in between
and
guests. Hey,
you're a
thanks very much indeed for calling the show.
Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray. Here we go. Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray,
Henry.
Thierry Omray, 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 Thierry Omray,
Hooray for
Thierry Omray,
Hallucinating.
Thierry Omray, Thierry Omray,
Very good.
Thierry
He's
Omray,
going on.
Thierry Henry.
We'll come back to him in a minute and see if he's still there.
Put him
Shall we
on
do
hold,
that?
yeah.
We'll put you on hold and see if you're still there in a minute. All right, keep going.
I think we better call Norris McGuirter.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's go to line 3. Good evening, line 3. You're live on Talksport's Human Zoo.
Cut off your goalies.
Okay, let's go back to line 2 and see if he's still there.
Thierry Henry.
Yeah, excellent.
Thierry Henry.
I like it. Hey, got a theme. It's a connected program. Line 4. Hello.
Henry.
Whoa, let's conference them. Line 2, keep going. Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry.
Henry.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.